Major news in Hunter Biden's federal tax evasion case. CNN's Evan Perez has the details from Los Angeles. Evan, what do we know?
Well, this was a bit of a surprise gambit that we had in court here just about 20 minutes ago here in Los Angeles. Dana, Hunter Biden's attorneys asked for him to enter an unusual plea. It's called an Alford plea, where Hunter Biden would accept whatever punishment the judge doles out, but he maintains his innocence. Instead of pleading guilty, he's maintaining he's attempting to maintain his innocence. Of course, as expected, the Justice Department does not agree with this. They objected in court to this request from Hunter Biden's attorneys, and now the judge has called for a break for a couple of hours while he considers what steps to take next. Now, this is unusual, as I pointed out. Today, obviously, was the first day of jury selection on this trial. This is Hunter Biden's second time going on trial. Earlier this year, he was found guilty on gun charges in Delaware. And these charges have to do with tax evasion. He's facing 3 felony counts for tax evasion, 6 misdemeanor counts for failing to file and pay his taxes on time. And of course, he's facing a very difficult situation because Hunter Biden had previously agreed to plead guilty to all of these charges in a deal that fell apart last year in federal court there in Delaware. So we don't know what the judge is going to do next, but I can tell you that, Alford pleas are obviously very, very unusual. Certainly in the federal system, the Justice Department has a policy against them. They would argue, and today in court, they're pushing for Hunter Biden to plead guilty to everything. If he wants to resolve this case, he needs to plead guilty to all of these charges. That is the position of the government. So we will see what Judge Mark Scarsi does when he gets back. Obviously, Dana, a lot of consequences are here for Hunter Biden. He's facing 17 years if he's convicted. We know President Biden has said that he's not going to pardon his son. However, that's back when the president was the candidate for re-election. That is no longer the case. We'll see whether that answer stays the same.
So interesting. Thank you so much for explaining that, especially that detail of the Justice Department policy being not to accept such rare pleas. Keep us posted if you hear anything from what the judge actually says in that hearing. Behind you, Evan, I want to, in the meantime, bring in senior legal analyst Elie Honig. So, Elie, can you just dive deeper into this so-called Alford plea, which was not on my bingo card for Inside Politics today, but, we're all about learning new things, and this is a new one for me. You've obviously got experience with this, being a former federal prosecutor. Explain.
Yeah, Dana, this is a surprise development. So ordinarily, when a defendant pleads guilty, he goes in front of the judge in court and says, I'm guilty as charged. I did it, and here's what I did that makes me guilty. Now, this is what's technically called an Alford plea. People may be more familiar with the term you sometimes see on TV of a no contest, or nolo contendere, if you want to use the Latin, where essentially what Hunter Biden is asking to do is to go into the federal court and say, I'm not admitting my guilt. I'm not admitting that I'm guilty of these charges. Instead, I acknowledge that the prosecution thinks they have the proof, and I'm willing to take your sentence, Judge, based on the indictment as is. It's very, very rare to see this type of plea happen, or even an attempt to have this type of plea happen in federal court.
And Elie, do prosecutors talk about sort of the history of, if you know broadly, whether or not prosecutors usually accept this type of plea? I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but if you were the prosecutor in this case, is this something that you think that you would consider? So, especially given, and as you answer that, I just want to add a little bit of context to this. Hunter Biden has paid back those taxes.
Right.
It's not as if those taxes are outstanding, even though he did owe more than 1 year and owed a lot of money.
So it is official Justice Department policy, and this is a DOJ federal case, that you do not, as a prosecutor, accept an Alford plea, except for in extraordinary circumstances. You asked about my experience. I was a prosecutor for 14 years, never accepted an Alford plea. Wow. Once in a while, a defense lawyer would call and say, hey, my guy's willing to take an Alford plea, and frankly, we'd laugh at them. We'd say, no way, we don't do that. That's a joke. However, what Hunter Biden certainly can do, and perhaps this is his next step if this doesn't work, is nobody can stop him from just pleading guilty to the indictment as is. Now, he's charged with various tax crimes, so nobody can stop him. It doesn't matter if the prosecutor likes it or not. Hunter Biden can always go into that court and say, I'm guilty as charged. But on this issue of the Alford plea, the no contest plea, not at all surprising that Evan just reported that DOJ, the prosecutors, are against it.
Ellie, thank you so much. Always good to
Thanks,
see you
Ev.
and to have you instantly explain things that we are just learning. And